Hello friends. If you were born on February 7th, you are not just another Aquarius, you're one of the rarest shades of this zodiac sign. Your birthday falls during the heart of Aquarius season, and that brings a fascinating blend of intellectual rebellion, emotional depth, and spiritual wisdom that sets you apart. But what does it really mean to be born on February 7th? Let's peel back the cosmic layers, from Western astrology and numerology to Vedic charts and even Druid and stone horoscopes. Whether it's love, sex, business, or friendship, this guide will illuminate who you are on a deeper level, and why you were born to walk your own unique path. Love romance. Mysterious. Magnetic. Electrifying. That's your romantic aura, but those are just the first sparks. For someone born on February 7th, love isn't a fairy tale or a checklist, it's a thrilling journey of the mind and heart. You don't fall in love easily, and you don't fall in love often. What you're looking for is resonance, someone whose frequency matches your own. That might mean deep philosophical conversations at 2 a.m., wordless glances that say everything, or shared dreams that defy logic. Your love language is intellectual intimacy first, physical closeness second. You crave stimulation on all levels, and your ideal partner must offer more than physical beauty or surface charm. You're irresistibly drawn to those who can challenge your ideas, make you laugh with insight instead of slapstick, and push you to grow without caging your spirit. Your heart has a hidden depth that few are allowed to see, but once someone earns access, you are astoundingly devoted. Your loyalty is not loud or dramatic, it's unshakable and quiet, like a compass that always points back to them. You do, however, have a unique challenge in love, your emotional independence. You need space the way most people need air. Clingy or overly possessive partners can feel suffocating, and any attempt to control you, even subtly, will make you vanish faster than a magic trick. What you need is someone who understands that solitude doesn't mean distance, and that your desire for freedom isn't a lack of commitment, it's just how you love best. Your relationships are often unconventional. Long-distance love, open-minded dynamics, non-traditional living situations, you're not afraid to break the mold if it means building something that actually works for both of you. You're more interested in genuine compatibility than fitting into societal boxes, and your openness makes you a true partner for the right person. You are also someone who brings magic to love when it's right. You'll uplift your partner's spirit, help them see the world from new angles, and support their individuality as fiercely as your own. With you, love isn't a cage, it's a sky, wide open and full of stars. Best romantic matches. Gemini, this is a match made in mental heaven. You both love ideas, laughter, and spontaneity. With Gemini, conversations feel electric, and there's always something new to explore, from philosophy to travel plans to the meaning of the universe. Neither of you likes emotional heaviness, but you balance that with a shared appreciation for wit and freedom. You're like two brilliant comets orbiting each other, never crashing, but always burning bright. Libra, Libras bring grace, charm, and emotional balance to your world. They understand your need for independence and don't take it personally. They help you soften your edges without dulling your shine. Together, you create a relationship that feels like a well-composed symphony, beautiful, cooperative, and harmoniously non-traditional. Libra's diplomacy also calms your rebellious energy, while you inspire them to think more radically. Sagittarius, sparks fly immediately. Both of you are freedom lovers, adventurers, and seekers of truth. Your chemistry is undeniable, and your shared sense of humor keeps the bond fresh and full of life. You challenge each other in the best ways, Sagittarius brings the fire, you bring the ideas, and together, you're a living manifesto of passion, possibility, and adventure. Aries, Aries brings the boldness and confidence that excites your curious nature. They'll pursue you with fearless intensity, which can be thrilling, as long as they don't try to control you. With clear boundaries and mutual respect, this can be a high-energy, passionate pairing that never gets boring. You're both future-oriented and driven, and if Aries learns to embrace your need for mental space, this could be explosive in the best way. Aquarius, yes, your own sign. Who better to understand your inner complexities than someone who shares your cosmic DNA? An Aquarius-Aquarius duo is weird, wonderful, and filled with endless possibility. You'll talk about everything, from ancient history to future tech, and never run out of ideas. The only challenge? Someone has to eventually express a real emotion. But if you can both lean into vulnerability, this union becomes something revolutionary. Challenging matches. Taurus craves stability, routine, and the kind of comfort that comes from predictability. You, on the other hand, thrive on change, evolution, and surprise. Taurus may see your detachment as disinterest, while you might feel trapped by their need for consistency. The connection can work with effort, but it will require constant communication and compromise. Scorpio, passionate and intense, Scorpios dive deep, sometimes too deep for your airy, future-focused vibe. While their loyalty and emotional power can be alluring, their tendency toward control or secrecy can clash with your need for openness and independence. Emotional misunderstandings are common here unless both partners commit to honest, ego-free communication. Cancer, sweet, sensitive, and loving, Cancer means well, but their emotional depth can feel overwhelming to you. You prefer logic and detachment in the early stages of romance, while Cancer wants emotional connection and reassurance. You might accidentally hurt them by pulling away when you feel smothered, and they may not understand your need for space. This pairing needs massive emotional maturity from both sides to avoid misunderstandings. Capricorn, while Capricorns are goal-driven and dependable, they may struggle with your unpredictability. They want structure, you want innovation. They move slow and steady, you jump into the unknown. Unless your individual goals align deeply, this match can feel like a tug-of-war between tradition and revolution. Virgo, this one's tricky. Virgo values detail, order, and logic. You value the abstract, the chaotic, the visionary. While you might admire each other's brains, the difference in how you process life can create frustration. Virgo may view you as scattered or unrealistic, while you may find them rigid or overly critical. Still, with mutual respect, a beautiful friendship is possible, even if romance is a bit of a puzzle. Sex intimacy. From the outside, you might seem chill, calm, cerebral, maybe even a little aloof. But behind closed doors, you're a cosmic firework of sexual creativity and soulful intensity. For someone born on February 7th, sex is never just about skin on skin. It's a full-spectrum experience, combining mind, body, emotion, and spirit. If it doesn't touch all four, it doesn't move you. Foreplay for you starts in the mind. A well-placed word, an unexpected insight, or a shared dream can light a fire inside you faster than any traditional gesture. You're deeply turned on by imagination, intelligence, and mystery. If your partner can make you think, they're halfway to making you melt. But here's the key, you have to trust them first. Emotional safety unlocks your wildest self, and without it, your body might be present, but your soul will be somewhere else entirely. You're not a fan of routine. Repetition kills the mood. You crave spontaneity, surprise, and moments that feel completely new. That's Uranus, your ruling planet, always pushing you to break norms, explore edges, and question the expected. You may be interested in role play, new environments, or even spiritual sexual practices like Tantra. For you, it's not about being outrageous, it's about feeling fully alive. Despite your experimental streak, your deeper desire is to connect. You want sex to mean something, even if you don't always say it out loud. You want to feel seen, understood, and mirrored in the experience. When the physical merges with the emotional and the intellectual, that's when you reach your highest potential for intimacy. Emotionally, you tend to keep some parts of yourself guarded, even in bed. It's not coldness, it's just that you experience intimacy in a layered, multidimensional way. You want your partner to work for those deeper layers. If they're willing to, what they'll find is astonishing: a deeply intuitive lover who knows how to balance intensity with play, passion with depth, and freedom with connection. Your ideal sexual partner is someone who's curious, open-minded, and attuned to more than just the physical. Someone who wants to explore, not just perform. And when you find them, you create magic, not the fairy tale kind, but the kind that changes people forever. Marriage long-term commitment. Let's get one thing straight: you're not opposed to marriage, but you won't walk down the aisle just to check a box or please tradition. For those born on February 7th, marriage must be a conscious, authentic, and deeply intentional union. It has to reflect your truth, not society's expectations. You're wired to challenge the status quo, and that applies just as much to relationships as it does to politics, art, or technology. You're not anti-commitment, you're anti-compromise of your identity. Traditional gender roles, outdated rituals, pressure to settle down by a certain age. None of that appeals to you. If anything, those ideas make you want to run in the opposite direction. Your concept of marriage is built on equality, innovation, and the freedom to evolve, individually and as a couple. You want a marriage that grows as you grow, without trying to fit love into a predefined mold. That's why you often find success in partnerships that break the norm, whether that means long-distance arrangements, creative living setups, or simply rewriting the rules as you go. Your ideal partner will be someone who doesn't just accept your uniqueness, they honor it. Someone who understands that solitude is not rejection, and independence doesn't mean disinterest. You crave a love that's built on trust, not possession. When you find someone who supports your individual pursuits while pursuing their own, that's when your partnership really thrives. This kind of union becomes not a limitation, but a launchpad, a shared adventure into life's unknowns. Marriage, for you, isn't likely to happen in your early 20s. You tend to take your time, often well into your 30s or even 40s, because you want to be sure. Sure of who you are. Sure of what you won't tolerate. Sure that you're building something sustainable, not just romantic. You have a deep fear of being trapped, and until you find the right kind of freedom within commitment, you'll wait. And that's wise, because when you do finally commit, it's for real. In a long-term marriage, you're anything but boring. You bring surprises, new ideas, and a refusal to let the relationship go stale. You'll push your partner to grow, to think bigger, to explore beyond the familiar. And while you're not the most traditionally affectionate person, your devotion runs deep. You're the partner who will stand beside someone through reinvention, crisis, and rebirth, as long as they respect your need to do the same. Your biggest challenge in marriage is learning how to stay connected without losing yourself. You may occasionally drift emotionally, not out of malice, but because your mind is always traveling. To maintain long-term harmony, you'll need a partner who gently pulls you back to presence, who speaks your language of ideas and dreams, and who knows that commitment, in your world, means choosing each other again and again, with full freedom and full heart. Friendship social life. Your social life is anything but ordinary. You're not the type to stick to one friend group, one routine, or one version of yourself. For those born on February 7th, friendship is a living, breathing experiment, a space where souls meet not to conform, but to collaborate, challenge, and co-create. You collect friends like constellations, each unique, each shining in their own way, and all part of your expansive cosmic network. You're that rare friend who might not text for weeks but then shows up with a wild idea, a strange book, or a question that flips someone's worldview. Your friendships are built on shared curiosity, creative energy, and mutual respect for individuality. You don't care how someone dresses, what they believe, or where they come from, as long as they're real. You vibe with open-minded souls, misfits, visionaries, and thinkers who don't mind getting a little weird at dinner parties. You often find yourself in the role of the catalyst. You spark change in your friends' lives, not by trying to fix them, but by seeing them fully and encouraging their evolution. You offer perspective that's 10 steps ahead of the present, which makes you a visionary guide, but also, sometimes, a bit of a mystery. People may not always understand you, but they remember you. You're unforgettable because you make others think, and feel, in ways they didn't expect. Your social connections often span different generations, cultures, and even belief systems. You enjoy the friction of diversity, the fresh insights that come from perspectives outside your own. Small talk bores you. Parties where everyone agrees make you restless. You'd rather have a heated debate with a stranger than nod politely through a dinner conversation that lacks depth. That said, you also appreciate solitude. You can go off the radar for days or weeks, not because you're cold, but because your inner world needs maintenance. When you disappear, your true friends don't panic, they know you'll return, often with new inspiration or a story worth hearing. Your disappearing act is not emotional withdrawal, but a kind of recalibration. You need space to dream, invent, and breathe. And when you come back, you bring the kind of energy that recharges the whole room. Loyalty, for you, doesn't look like daily check-ins or traditional expressions of closeness. It looks like showing up when it counts. When your friend is in crisis. When their world is falling apart. That's when you appear with your clear-headed insight, your rebellious empathy, and your signature ability to help people see possibility in chaos. You may not be the every Sunday brunch friend, but you are the life-saving one. Friendship, to you, is sacred. It's a chosen family of thinkers, dreamers, and wanderers who meet not to mirror each other, but to expand each other. And the ones who truly understand you. They're lucky, because you're not just a friend. You're a revolution in their life. Career, money, business. Inventor. Visionary. Nonconformist. These three words don't just describe your professional style, they define your entire philosophy of work. If you were born on February 7th, your career isn't just about paying bills or climbing the ladder. It's about creating, disrupting, and revolutionizing whatever field you touch. You're the kind of person who looks at a broken system and doesn't just complain, you build something better. Routine work. Corporate templates. Endless meetings with no purpose. That's your personal nightmare. You're here to change things, not keep them running as is. You thrive in dynamic environments where thinking outside the box isn't just tolerated, it's required. Innovation is your oxygen. Whether you're launching startups, inventing tools, researching human behavior, or producing groundbreaking digital art, you need to feel like you're contributing to the future, not the past. The idea of doing the same task every day for years feels like soul death. That's why you're often drawn to emerging industries, high-concept work, or cross-disciplinary careers where innovation is the norm. Your most compatible professional roles involve a high level of autonomy, trust, and flexibility. You shine when you're allowed to lead with ideas rather than micromanaged by tradition. You're especially gifted when it comes to making connections between seemingly unrelated fields, pulling inspiration from psychology to inform UX design, or blending neuroscience with marketing, or applying tech solutions to humanitarian crises. You see patterns others miss, and that's your superpower. You also carry an entrepreneurial spark that doesn't dim with age. If your numerology chart includes life path 1 or 8, your instincts for business and leadership are off the charts. You're the kind of person who might invent an app, start a company, run a non-profit, and write a thought leadership book, all within the same decade. Your challenge isn't generating ideas, it's choosing which one to chase first. Financially, you can be both a genius and a wild card. On one hand, you have the smarts and vision to create real wealth. On the other, your fascination with technology, innovation, and the next big thing can make you prone to impulse spending, especially on gadgets, software, or new ventures that haven't fully matured. You're not afraid to take risks, which can result in spectacular wins, but also a few epic fails. Learning when to pause, research, and wait is essential to long-term success. Top career paths for February 7th personalities include Tech AI. You're naturally future-oriented, so working with emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, or blockchain feels like home. You may not always have formal training, but your curiosity drives you to master complex systems quickly. Whether you're a developer, strategist, designer, or visionary founder, this space matches your pace. Psychology. Human behavior. You're deeply fascinated by what makes people tick. Careers in clinical psychology, behavioral science, counseling, user experience research, or even neuromarketing allow you to blend emotional intelligence with intellectual depth. You don't just want to understand people, you want to evolve them. Futuristic design innovation. Whether it's designing smart cities, conceptual fashion, immersive virtual realities, or sustainable architecture, your ability to see what's next gives you an edge. You don't just follow trends, you set them. You could easily be a product designer, UX visionary, or even a creative director at a think tank. Creative arts, especially digital and multimedia, filmmaking, digital art, interactive storytelling, podcasting, music production, your talent thrives in multisensory mediums. You're a storyteller who sees the world in symbols, colors, and patterns. You don't just create content, you create culture. Humanitarian causes or NGOs. Despite your nonconformist ways, you care deeply about the world. You want to make it better, not through bureaucracy, but through bold, paradigm-shifting initiatives. You do well as a policy innovator, nonprofit leader, or grassroots organizer, especially in global tech equity or social reform. Astrologer, energy healer, or coach. Your spiritual side often emerges in unexpected ways. You might be drawn to astrology, energy work, sound healing, or intuitive coaching, not as a trend, but as a path to real transformation. You bridge ancient wisdom with futuristic insight, and people trust your ability to decode the unseen. In business, you're not only the innovator, you're also the disruptor. You ask the questions no one else dares to ask, and you challenge authority not for the sake of rebellion, but for the sake of evolution. You don't just want to fit into the economy. You want to redefine it. To thrive, choose environments where your originality isn't just accepted, it's essential. Avoid micromanaged teams, rigid structures, or overly traditional companies. The more freedom you have to think, move, and dream, the more wealth, both personal and financial, you'll create. Numerology of February 7th. The core number of your birth date is 7, one of the most mysterious and spiritually potent numbers in the numerology system. Being a 7 means you are a seeker, not of surface answers, but of deep, universal truths. You have an innate hunger to understand the invisible architecture of life, the why behind the what. You crave knowledge that transcends the material world, wisdom that feels ancient, profound, and almost otherworldly. 7s are known for their razor-sharp minds, intuitive clarity, and need for solitude. You don't fear being alone, you require it to recharge and think clearly. Unlike many, you are perfectly content in silence, poring over research, exploring your inner world, or reflecting on patterns no one else notices. This introspective depth gives you an edge in fields requiring analysis, insight, and philosophical thinking. You are also often perceived as hard to read, and that's not accidental. Your emotional landscape is complex and layered, and you don't share your thoughts freely. People sense there's more going on beneath the surface, but few can fully decode you. That mysterious quality is part of your charm, but it can also lead to misunderstandings. People may think you're aloof or distant when, in fact, you're simply processing life on a very deep level. Now, if your life path number, calculated from your full date of birth, happens to be 8, then you carry a double-edged sword of power. The 8 adds ambition, financial insight, and a strong sense of worldly authority to your 7's spiritual nature. Together, these numbers form one of the most potent combinations in numerology, the wise creator and the empowered builder. This means you have the unique ability to manifest metaphysical insight into material success. You can dream big and execute. You can understand cosmic patterns and balance a spreadsheet. It's the mark of someone who can run a business with purpose, lead a movement with vision, or become a wealthy mystic. But this combination also requires balance. The 7 wants solitude, the 8 demands action. The 7 seeks inner truth, the 8 pursues outer achievement. Learning how to honor both, without letting one silence the other, is your lifelong mastery. If you lean too hard into analysis, you risk missing opportunity. If you chase power without purpose, you lose yourself. When you embrace both your analytical gifts and your ambition, you're unstoppable. You were born to build something bigger than yourself, not just for profit, but for progress. You don't chase wealth for status, you seek it as a tool for impact, freedom, and reinvention. You're here to design the future, not just survive the present. So trust your gut. Study the patterns. Lead with integrity. The universe didn't give you this unique mix of vision and power by accident. You were meant to build something the world has never seen before, and to make money doing it without ever losing your soul. Druid Celtic Tree Horoscope, Rowan. If you were born under the Rowan tree, as those with a February 7th birthday are, you carry a signature energy that is unlike any other in the Celtic zodiac. To the ancient Druids, the Rowan tree was sacred, a symbol of deep protection, spiritual insight, and otherworldly wisdom. It wasn't just a tree, it was a portal, a living bridge between the seen and the unseen, the material and the mystical. And that's exactly what you embody. You're a visionary with a foot in both worlds, constantly translating cosmic truths into human language. Rowan-born individuals were often seen as spiritual warriors, not because they sought conflict, but because they stood firmly at the intersection of logic and intuition. You are the kind of person who can decode patterns, understand hidden motivations, and sense shifts in energy before anyone else is even aware something is happening. Your presence has a quiet strength to it. People may not know why they feel safer around you, but they do. That's the protective magic of the Rowan at work through your aura. You're naturally drawn to wisdom traditions, ancient philosophies, esoteric knowledge, and spiritual systems that dig beneath the surface of life. Astrology, mythology, metaphysics, sacred geometry, these don't feel like new interests, they feel like memories. You don't just learn them, you remember them. There's something timeless about your curiosity, as though you're not discovering, but reawakening what you've always known deep down. But there's also a deep paradox within you. Your heart belongs to the stars, yet your mind is deeply analytical. This creates a kind of creative tension that allows you to do what few others can, make the mystical practical. You're someone who might meditate in the morning, code a software tool by noon, and spend the evening writing poetry or leading a dream interpretation group. Logic does not exclude intuition in your world, it supports it. Others often perceive you as eccentric or different. That's because you operate at a frequency most people aren't tuned into. You're not trying to be unique, you are unique. Your mind is several steps ahead, often exploring ideas that won't become mainstream for another decade. This can feel isolating at times, but it's also your superpower. You weren't born to fit in, you were born to illuminate. As a Rowan, you're also a natural protector of the people you love and the ideals you believe in. You're not aggressive, but you are fierce in your quiet way. You hold space for others to grow, often serving as a silent mentor or guide, not with loud declarations, but with your consistent wisdom and intuitive insight. When others are lost, you help them remember who they are. When the world is chaotic, you become the still center. Your Aquarian sun sign enhances your Rowan energy even more. Both share qualities of innovation, spiritual depth, and a touch of rebellion. This makes you a cosmic architect, someone who designs the future with the wisdom of the past. You often find yourself blending ancient symbols with futuristic visions, creating a new kind of sacred language that resonates with both logic and soul. In Celtic symbolism, rowan branches were placed above doorways to ward off evil. Metaphorically, that's you. You are the protector at the threshold, a person who guards the line between what is and what could be. And while others may not always understand your gifts, the world needs you exactly as you are, rare, rooted, and revolutionary. Flower horoscope, orchid. The orchid, rare, complex, and silently commanding, is the perfect botanical symbol for someone born on February 7th. In Western flower astrology, being born under the sign of the orchid means you possess a beauty that is anything but conventional. You don't bloom to impress, you bloom in your own rhythm, often in places where others wouldn't even dare to grow. You are elegance wrapped in mystery, strength cloaked in softness, and passion hidden beneath precision. Orchids are known for their delicate appearance, but their roots run deep and their structure is highly evolved, just like you. At first glance, you may come across as quiet, thoughtful, even slightly aloof. But those who take the time to really see you soon realize there's a powerful core beneath the surface. You are incredibly sensitive to your environment, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. But rather than letting that sensitivity weaken you, you've turned it into refinement. You move with intention. You speak with meaning. You listen more than you talk, but when you do speak, people lean in. People born under the orchid are emotional enigmas, and that's putting it lightly. Your emotional world is like an ocean trench, vast, deep, and largely hidden from view. You feel everything, but you don't always express it. You guard your inner life closely, not out of secrecy, but because you understand how precious it is. This makes your presence magnetic, others are drawn to you without knowing why. You don't chase attention, yet you receive it. You don't perform for love, yet people love you. It's not charm in the traditional sense, it's energy. People sense the depth in you. Orchids also represent uniqueness and nonconformity, traits that align perfectly with your Aquarian nature. You don't want to be like anyone else, and you're not afraid to stand out. In fact, you're most alive when you're doing something original, creating something beautiful, or expressing something that only you could express. You don't need applause to feel validated, you just need to be seen and understood by a few who truly get you. There's a duality in the orchid spirit, grace and grit. You may seem soft-spoken or gentle, but your resilience is unshakable. You can survive emotional winters and still bloom in your own time. You're patient with life but impatient with inauthenticity. You hold others to high standards, not because you're judgmental, but because you believe in potential. You don't want superficial connections or shallow conversations. You want to get to the essence of people and life itself. In relationships, you are deeply loyal but highly selective. You'd rather be alone than in the wrong company. You need partners and friends who appreciate subtlety, who understand that your quiet presence speaks volumes, and who can meet you in the realm of depth. Shallow flattery means nothing to you. Authenticity is your love language. The orchid's exotic energy also signals creativity. Whether you write, paint, sing, design, invent, or dream for a living, your work carries the mark of the sublime. There's always something extra in what you do, something that can't quite be explained, but is always felt. That's because you create not just from the mind, but from the spirit. And people recognize it, even if they don't know how to name it. To be an orchid is to be unforgettable. You don't follow the sunlight like other flowers, you create your own light. You don't demand space, you command it through stillness, beauty, and presence. You are, in every sense, a living metaphor, complex, exquisite, and born to bloom on your own terms. Birthstone stone horoscope, amethyst. Amethyst is far more than just your February birthstone, it's a spiritual ally, an energetic mirror, and a sacred tool of transformation. For someone born on February 7th, this stone resonates on every level of your being. It bridges your Aquarian mind's constant curiosity with your soul's deep craving for peace and higher purpose. Known since ancient times as a crystal of protection, intuition, and divine connection, amethyst speaks directly to your dual nature, the rebel and the mystic, the thinker and the seeker. Amethyst is traditionally linked to the crown chakra, the energy center associated with enlightenment, universal wisdom, and spiritual clarity. For you, this means amethyst doesn't just calm your thoughts, it opens the gateway to insight. Your mind is always working, often multitasking on abstract levels most people can't imagine. This stone helps you filter that chaos, transforming mental overload into focused inspiration. It silences the noise so you can hear what your intuition is whispering. But there's more, amethyst is also a protective force. As someone who walks between the realms of logic and energy, you're especially sensitive to emotional currents and invisible frequencies. You pick up on the moods of others, the tension in a room, the unspoken truths. Amethyst acts like a psychic shield, absorbing negative energy before it can reach you, and creating a sense of inner stillness even in overwhelming situations. It's your anchor when the world feels too loud. Spiritually, amethyst is your direct link to your higher self, the wiser, more evolved version of you that exists beyond the ego and the intellect. With consistent use, this stone enhances your meditative practices, your dream life, and your ability to receive guidance from nonlinear sources. For you, this could mean receiving flashes of insight during a shower, sensing synchronicities as signs, or downloading entire ideas that feel too perfect to be from your logical brain alone. That's the amethyst at work, clearing the path for divine information to flow freely. Amethyst also brings emotional balance, which is critical for an Aquarius born on February 7th. You live in your head so much that feelings sometimes catch you off guard, or get buried entirely. Amethyst softens that detachment, inviting a more compassionate, centered way of experiencing your emotions. It reminds you that vulnerability is not a flaw, it's a portal to deeper connection and creativity. Alongside amethyst, your stone horoscope suggests 3 additional crystals that align beautifully with your essence. Hematite, think of hematite as your spiritual grounding wire. You're often in the realm of ideas, invention, or future thinking, which can leave you feeling disconnected from your body or drained by constant stimulation. Hematite brings you back to earth. It strengthens your sense of presence, helps you focus on what's real and now, and gives you mental clarity when your thoughts feel tangled or scattered. Labradorite, this stone is pure magic. If amethyst opens your crown, labradorite lights up your third eye. It awakens your inner mystic and enhances your psychic abilities. Labradorite is ideal for someone like you, who naturally lives at the intersection of science and spirituality. It helps you trust your hunches, see through illusions, and manifest visions into reality. It also supports reinvention, something you do often as you evolve. Fluorite is your energetic vacuum cleaner. It clears mental fog, emotional clutter, and the residue of toxic interactions. You're an energetic sponge, whether you realize it or not, and fluorite ensures you don't carry what isn't yours. It's also a powerful ally for focus, especially when you're juggling multiple ideas or projects. It brings order to the chaos without dimming your creativity. These stones don't just sit on your shelf, they work with you, amplifying your gifts and easing your challenges. You can wear them as jewelry, place them on your desk, meditate with them, or simply keep them near during your most inspired moments. Their frequencies align with your purpose, to awaken, to create, and to lead with wisdom and integrity. Vedic Astrology Jyotish. In the vast, ancient lens of Vedic astrology, known as Jyotish, your birthday likely places you under the sign of Makara Rashi, or Capricorn in the sidereal zodiac. This might surprise you, especially if you strongly identify with your Western Aquarius sun sign. But this blend of Aquarius and Vedic Capricorn creates a compelling paradox: the idealist with structure, the visionary with discipline, the skywalker who can build stairs to the stars. Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, gives you a more grounded, practical foundation than many Aquarians possess. While your Western chart leans toward rebellion and innovation, your Vedic chart brings an earthy realism, an ability to follow through, finish what you start, and take ideas seriously. You're not just here to dream of a better world, you're here to design the blueprint and start construction. That's what makes you a spiritual engineer. You fuse vision with systems, hope with mastery, creativity with accountability. Whereas Western astrology emphasizes your futuristic and humanitarian side, your Vedic chart reminds us that you also value legacy, contribution, and mastery. You're not satisfied with temporary fame or surface recognition. You want to leave behind something meaningful, a framework, a philosophy, a system that others can build upon. This gives your personality a quiet intensity. You're climbing not just for success, but for spiritual impact. Your nakshatra, or lunar mansion, will depend on the exact time and location of your birth, but for many February 7th birthdays, it often falls under Shravan or Dhanishta. Each one tells a deeper story. Shravan, this is the listener among the nakshatras, and it's tied to the ability to absorb wisdom from all sources, books, mentors, silence, even the divine. If your moon or ascendant is in Shravan, you're here to learn, teach, and elevate. You have the patience to study, the memory to retain sacred knowledge, and the heart to share it with others. This nakshatra gives you a subtle charisma, not the loudest voice in the room, but the one everyone leans toward when it speaks. You're also guided by higher principles and often feel a deep inner calling to live with purpose and spiritual alignment. Dhanishta, this is the wealthy nakshatra, but not just in terms of money. Dhanishta gives you access to inner richness, talents, charisma, and a magnetic sense of rhythm. It's often linked with music, leadership, and cultural impact. If your moon or ascendant is here, you likely feel compelled to perform, to lead, or to create something that moves people. You walk a fine line between ambition and altruism. When balanced, Dhanishta can make you a powerful force for good, someone who uses their success to serve humanity. Both nakshatras are ruled by the Vedic deity Vishnu, the preserver, suggesting that your soul's mission isn't just to start revolutions, but to sustain something sacred. Whether it's knowledge, love, tradition, or innovation, you're here to nurture and evolve it over time. That divine commitment adds gravitas to your journey, even if you outwardly appear lighthearted or unconventional. In the fusion of your Western and Vedic identities, you are a bridge between realms. You were born to walk many timelines, the ancient and the modern, the spiritual and the material, the visionary and the realist. You are proof that we don't have to choose between dreaming and doing. We can, and should, do both. Final thoughts: why you're one of a kind. Being born on February 7th isn't just a matter of astrology, it's a cosmic assignment. It's as if the universe chose this specific day to infuse you with the perfect blend of intellect, intuition, originality, and quiet rebellion. It handed you a blueprint that most people wouldn't know how to read, but you live it. With every decision you make, every unconventional path you choose, you bring that blueprint to life. You are not here to repeat the past. You are here to reimagine it, and build a future that's never existed before. Your mind is extraordinary. You think in patterns, systems, and ideas that stretch beyond the surface of things. You can deconstruct a belief, rebuild it with your own logic, and then elevate it into something profound. People may call you eccentric, detached, or overly complex, but that's only because they haven't caught up yet. You don't rebel just to be different. You rebel because you can see what needs to change. You carry within you the blueprint for evolution, of thought, of systems, of society, and of self. Emotionally, you are just as layered. While you may not always wear your heart on your sleeve, your emotional depth runs ocean deep. You feel in frequencies. You connect through energy. You may express your affection through ideas, through attention to someone's dreams, or through creating safe space for their truth. You don't love halfway. You love with the full force of your spirit, it just doesn't always look like what the world expects. And that's exactly why it's so powerful. In your relationships, romantic, platonic, professional, you are the unexpected gift. You show up not in ways that are typical, but in ways that are transformative. You inspire others to think differently, to dream bigger, to break their own patterns. You won't just tell a friend to follow their passion, you'll help them map it, challenge their fears, and then send them a link to a tool they didn't know existed. You're not content to let people stay asleep. You wake them, gently, lovingly, and with just enough mystery to keep them wondering how you always know what they needed to hear. In business and purpose, you're not here to blend in, you're here to disrupt. To design new systems, question old ones, and bring a level of insight that others didn't even know they were missing. You have a rare talent for combining logic with vision. You can forecast the future while still being present in the moment. You don't just innovate for attention. You innovate because your soul is wired for evolution. You were born with a built-in compass that points toward what's next, and with it, you become the architect of tomorrow. Spiritually, you are a hybrid, half mystic, half scientist. You trust your intuition as much as your intellect. You see symbols in nature, truth in dreams, messages in synchronicities. You may not always label it spiritual, but your life is steeped in deeper meaning. You're constantly asking, what's beneath this? What's behind this? What's the real purpose here? That kind of inner inquiry isn't something that can be taught, it's a soul signature. And you've had it from the start. So what makes you truly one of a kind? You live in duality, and master it. You question everything, and create new answers. You feel deeply, and think clearly. You love differently, and better. You build futures, while healing pasts. You are a rare alignment of opposites that most people spend lifetimes trying to balance. And while that complexity may confuse others, it's exactly what makes you invaluable in a world that desperately needs new ways of thinking, living, and loving. So embrace your contradictions, they are your compass. Celebrate your quirks, they are your secret language. Honor your solitude, it is your source of genius. And most of all, keep imagining the kind of world that only you can see, because the rest of us are waiting for you to bring it to life. You weren't born to follow paths. You were born to carve them into the stars. Your future isn't just bright, it's unwritten. And that's exactly how you like it.